it hit the big time. Take one, guys. Take one.
Our first episode of Food Conversations, or Conversations with Benson, or Conversations. The bottom line is we talk. Before I introduce my guest, I want to tell you that on a Monday in Noordhoek it's chaos. One of the reasons why it's chaos is not about load shedding. It's about the wheelie bins and it's almost as if the restaurant vomits out everything onto the sidewalk.
Is that a very nice picture to have?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you drive through Noordhoek and you don't normally see the
Monday's
ugly
bin day.
Because not only do you find the bins, you find the guys who operate on the bins. So you find the whole economy.
I know it happens. Monday morning,
Yeah,
it happens.
It happens. And then you get your delivery guys fighting with your waste guys, and it's just, that channel gets very busy. But I want to tell a story in that ugliness. The lady I want to talk about, her name is Anna. And I brought a woman here a long time ago called Yolanda, who was doing recycling in...
Yes, I remember.
In Lekkerbatte Road. It's through her, she told me, whispered into my ear that her business is in trouble more than before. Because all the waste, all the plastic that she was not getting much money for has now disappeared. So people are no longer bringing things to her and she's no longer finding it. It disappeared. She asked me to go and find out. So I took a drive and I saw something that I've never seen before. Feet and a face and bags of plastic tied to a human being. So I stopped the car and I got out and I asked the lady, what is your name? My name is Anna. And of course, what are you doing? She had about 15 bags, quite bulky bags, tied to her, and she was just walking because they weren't very heavy. So she looked like a Oros man, but times 10. So, what are you doing? This is my job. Where are you going? I'm going to the bus stop. And of course, here's the deal. How much do you get paid? Because she's a collector and she's part of a system. She got paid, she told me she got paid 10 rand a bag, and there were 15 bags, so that was her wages for the day. So that puts us into the space of waste. She's making some money, the guy on top of her is making a bit of money, and our talk around waste today is not about plastic. Maybe you start off with plastic.
Yeah.
How much plastic is being produced at the food bar? Maybe you should introduce yourself first.
Hi.
These people don't know who you are.
So I'm Franck Dangereux. Good morning. I'm the owner of the Food Barn restaurant and the Food Barn deli shop across the way. And I've been in Noordhoek for 30 years.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Why Noordhoek though?
I just fell in love with it. The first time I came here, it just clicked. I knew this is the place I wanted to be.
Uh-huh.
And even though it's grown a lot and everything, it's still magic.
Okay.
It's still magic.
So it's still that magic that it was that you saw. You still have to hold on to the vision that you had.
No, it's still magic today. It's just grown. Like, I mean, you can't be 20 minutes away from busy Cape Town and think you're going to escape densification. It's not going to happen. So you got to get real. But I mean, that brings us to refuse. It brings us to all the things you want to talk about today. And I think we're managing pretty well here.
Okay.
Okay.
So in terms of, let's go to the 2-liter plastic container. You get your milk in 2 liters, or you get them in sachets?
Sachets, yeah.
And how many of them do you go through in this side, roughly? How much do you order? You order in crates?
Yeah, we order crate. Now I can tell you how much we go through. At the moment, we go through about 50 liters a day.
That's 50 plastic sachets. And at the moment, that's not being recycled.
No.
That's hard to recycle.
It is very hard to recycle. I'm sure there's a way it could be recycled, I would imagine. But so we go through those. We also go through bottles because we have other things that come in plastic bottles, unfortunately, like cream and other milks, like non-dairy milk as well.
Yeah.
So this we send out. We rinse and send out.
Okay. And you've got people collecting them?
We do. We've got all the Orbit, which you know and work with.
Shout out to him,
So he obviously makes a buck out of this as well because he collects all the cardboard, all the metal, all the plastic. And then you obviously you collect.
He comes once
twice a week.
On a Monday and later in the week. Okay. But then in the village, because I think it's useful, we are located literally 5 minutes from Chapman's Peak and another 5 minutes to Noordhoek Beach. So literally for those who have not yet experienced the village, it's magical.
It is,
But at the same time with the magic, it's dense. There's a lot of restaurants. So how many restaurants are we looking at in the village? Because so you speak for 2.
There's actually 4 restaurants here.
Okay. The Toad is one of them.
The Toad, the sushi place, Café Rue,
Café Rue.
and us. Yeah.
And what is the village doing? And maybe you can go back a little bit. What was the village doing in terms of trying to be green in terms of their waste?
So actually, look, everybody's got to deal with somebody who collects the recycling.
Each one of the restaurants.
Yeah. And as far as I know, it does stay in the valley.
Okay.
But I think I'm the only one to do. You and I, the only one to do something here with the wet, with the compostable and things that potentially could be food to farm animals as well.
Fantastic. So when we talk about wet waste, it's useful because wet waste is also called organic waste, and it's mainly food. And in the food, there's 2 types. There's the cooked food, the food scraps that comes off the table, people don't eat, the bits of bread, the bits of egg, the bits of vegetable, and that gets separated into a bucket. And then there's also the prep food. The
Peelings, raw stuff, yeah.
And those 2 things, for anyone watching, whether you are a restaurant owner or a household, it's important to keep those 2 things separate. Because the person at the end of it is going to ask me, what am I giving them? If they're feeding pigs, they need to know.
Yeah.
Because there's certain things that pigs don't eat. Most people don't know that.
Pigs they're picky. They don't like peels of onion, for example. They won't touch it.
They don't like things that are off.
No. That's a misconception. You can't give anything to pigs. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. They will be forced to eat it, but it's not good for them.
But they love plate scrapings.
Yeah,
That's the best.
You wish you could have a pig on the floor. Just take it outside.
Yeah, let's not push
save
it.
in the bin. in the next lifetime. So I've touched on. We're still talking on. We're still basically doing an introduction. Staff. How has your staff coped with the idea when you told them you're going to separate the waste? When they have been doing it in one way, your kitchen's under pressure, your space is under pressure. Suddenly you come to them and you add another dimension.
It's an educational. It takes time, like everything. So I think it starts with us. So it's something that I want. Okay. So I convey this to my managers, and then it becomes something that they want, and then they enforce it. And there is always little issues and teething problems. Mm-hmm. Like you will find some tissue paper in the wrong bin or little bits of plastics. So we try to, and when it's busy, these things happen. So, so we try. And I think the more we do it, the longer we do it, the better it'll get.
Yeah. I think also the most important thing, seeing that between the 2 of us, we're covering 2 important sections, is that when I collect and I find something in there that is objectionable, something that can't be processed, then I send it back to you either through WhatsApp, or I'll send a WhatsApp to your manager, and then it goes back to that person.
And we talk about it. Yeah.
So it's not just a situation of someone did it, we don't know who the person is. It's quite easy to go and figure out where it came, and a mind can be changed. Action can.
Absolutely. So not only they see what we do, but they understand. They know who you are. Yeah. They see you regularly. They know you work in this valley, and they know you give back that way.
Interestingly, on record, one of your staff called me up and asked for a pig. He was doing a celebration in November. On the way out one day, he called me. He said, "Listen, can you help me with?" He wants to do a slaughter. I knew there was some ceremony. It was a birthday or some big one. And the problem that I had was that the guys that I'm dealing with, at some point in time, I'm going to mention all the locations of the farms. I couldn't find pigs because in the cycle now, the pigs are still too young, so they keep them another 3 months. So about next year, March would be a good time to slaughter. So that gap's closed already.
Wow!
Because the same guy who's feeding is now asking about
the
slaughter. So I think there's magic there. I want to talk a little bit about when we started. we committed to what we call the low-hanging fruit, the fruit that's easy to reach. In a restaurant, it's the coffee grounds, because it's the thing that you do a lot of, and it's one thing. It's not, there's a little bit of plastic to it. So can you remember when we started? 2000 and...
It was actually when we started talking a long time ago, before COVID.
Okay.
And then we actually started doing this as we attempted to reopen in 2021. So that's when you and I started, and you're right, we started with just coffee for a long while.
Yeah.
Then eventually we implemented the other bins.
Next year. So what I want to do is I want to bring in the bin story, but I want to stay at the coffee one because it's easy to get excited about the next fruit in terms of but we needed to get that right. So it meant bags needed to be a certain weight. It means that the person collecting needs to come at a certain time, and I had no clue what I was doing. But we were both
figuring it out.
We had to figure it out. So now we've got to the point where and who was your coffee supplier during that time? Because I want to tag him in this post.
I'll give you his detail. His name is Wayne.
Okay.
He lives in Imhoff Gift, so he's also a local guy.
Oh, and the coffee business is called what?
It's called Gap Coffee. Oh, he's got two. He's got Gap and he's got the Canna Coffee.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah.
Wayne launched his Canna Coffee from there.
Yeah.
Best coffee I've had in a long time. I saw him yesterday actually at the
he's around
at the fair. The Fab Ideas in Sun Valley. He's operating a little thing there.
Exactly.
That's good to know. Gap Coffee. He's also got a majestic trailer. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Two flaps.
So he's the roaster. He's a great roaster, and then he also sources beans.
He gave me a little. So this is a shout out to him. He told me that I tasted his coffee about 10 years ago, and there was something different. What is it? It's a combination. It's one of the Italian tricks of mixing Robusta, Arabica, but 60-40.
Yeah. No, actually, well, I think it's even less now, but it varies. I think it varies on if he's happy with the beans, the ripeness of the beans. So it's there's quite a lot that goes into it.
Absolutely. But the bottom line is I think you've got a good coffee supplier there. And then we can safely say that for the last 4 years, all the coffee that's been generated from this space has been turned into compost.
Nice.
Now the story that you don't know is that compost, 6 tons of it was collected by a organization called the Oranje Zicht City Farm.
Oh yeah, no, I know them.
Kurt Ackerman. He had to set up an organization, the SA Urban Farmers, something, and they were needing to support smaller farmers. So I was using every one of your bags of coffee and put it straight into a compost pile. It's got nitrogen and all sorts of other things, and it's also it's very light.
Yeah.
So you end up with a very light absorbative compost.
Nice.
Which means you're saving water.
Yeah.
And when I told him about coffee in compost, he sent me a truck and came and fetched it. That compost is now, he fetched it 3 times, and each one of the 3 times it went off into a township where they were doing a food garden.
Ah, wonderful.
So at some point in time, we'll bring a picture in where you can actually see.
That's cool.
That's
amazing.
Full circle on stuff.
Excellent.
And you don't get that with landfill. You get the pleasure of driving and seeing your bins empty.
Yeah.
But your waste never visits you again.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. In this case, you at some point in time get a vegetable that's grown.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, so I want to now talk about the back. Okay, those buckets. I was sitting in my cottage when we were living on a small holding, and I needed to bring you a list. I wanted to do the homework, so I could say to you, you choose one. One is my best one, and 6 or whatever is my last one. And I went onto the Mambo's website, and I'll tag them, where they gave us an option. And I thought, budget and space and a whole lot of other things. What's the ideal bucket? And there was loads to choose from.
Yeah.
The one that was in my house, I bought at a thrift shop for $50 with the lid. Exactly the same one that you've got. I put that one as your last option.
Yeah.
And you looked at all of it, you looked at the price, and you chose the same bucket that I had in my house.
Okay.
My question is, what's the benefit of a 45-litre bucket with its own lid? Is there a reason why you chose that one?
I think it's just it's the one that seems to be the best bag size when it's full. When it's about 3/4 full, you close the bag, and that's the bag that everybody can manage.
It goes out.
The bag stays, yeah.
So
I
it
think
ends up with a small bag, and the lid doesn't disappear.
I have to say, if at some point we could find a way to no longer have bags, that'll be the ultimate. Find a way to empty the perfect bucket into a perfect bigger bucket, and then you have some kind of a device to uplift the bigger container. That would be amazing.
Yeah. I can
Anyway,
actually see the
something to
sequence
think
happening
about.
already for the future. The other question I want you to bring in is, I can feel the presence of people looking at us and saying, what about flies? I mean, Noordhoek has got all these manure makers, horses.
Yeah.
So while my son was sitting here a few minutes ago, he kept saying to me, "What's all these flies here?" And I thought, let's put it out there. Is Noordhoek a little bit? Is there a bigger fly population?
Yeah. Well, there's a big horse population.
And the horses.
So to
biodynamic.
tackle, there are ways to tackle flies, but it's pointless if out of 4 properties only one is addressing the fly problem. In order for the fly problem to be addressed, everybody must work together.
And stick to the
you find that doesn't really happen that often. And it's only really a summertime problem.
Yeah.
In winter, when it's colder or windier, it's not too bad. Yeah.
And in summer, in the heat of summer, when you're keeping all your waste, maggots you haven't yet found.
Look, it does happen, but in summer we have an extra pickup day.
Okay.
The bins are in the shade, even though, and there's lids. And for our normal refuse, we also tend to make smaller bags and close them properly. So this is something we learned.
Will struggle
Yeah.
to get in there. So it's one of those things that as you journey, you figure out that the fly doesn't like to struggle to get into that space that it needs to. Bees. Noordhoek has got a
Tons
lot
of
of flies. Have you got a way of dealing with them?
We just offer them
Something outside.
something outside, so hoping that they will focus on that rather than. But I mean, you can't keep bees away from jam. It's impossible.
It's impossible, especially when you've got big doors as well.
Yeah,
and
so
multiple
it's
exits.
just people. I would say 95% of people are actually loving seeing the bees, and they're quite chilled. They understand that the bee will just sit on the corner.
He's not swarming you.
No,
Not swarming.
just comes
or
for a little
harming you.
refill and then.
Disappear. So in a sense, your customers have adapted to.
They do. People come with their dogs to the food barn. People come with their dogs. They come with they come barefoot most of the time. They come with horses. So we're that kind of place.
Yeah.
We're not. So our clients. It's very seldom that our clients kind of resist this.
Okay. And that's a special thing when your clients are with you there.
Yeah.
You're not having to educate your client.
Yeah. No. It's nice.
There's one more thing that I want to chat about, and then we're going to open it up a little bit, and you can chat more. One advantage that we've got is that your bin section is right next to the car park.
You don't have to go too far.
So that means you could literally get your car as close as you can, load it up, and I can be gone in 10 minutes. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is that we've had to do is we've had to get an extra wheelie bin.
Yeah.
So that it's a green bin, so that and it's separated off from the other bins, so that the staff knows that that's where it goes, and then the person collecting knows that that's the one to stick.
That it works.
Absolutely. What happens in the case if we were to try it on the other side? It would be a little bit more difficult there because
No, the local where the bins are is also on the roadside.
okay.
So you could just double park for a few
Literally
minutes.
double park and do exactly
Yeah,
the same
it will
thing.
work.
Fantastic. So the parking and the heavy, the carrying of the bags, because if it's a wheelie bin, I found it so much easier. Wheel it out and take it where it needs to go.
Yeah.
And it's a flat surface, so there's absolutely no problem. I want to talk a little bit about some of the events happening that has happened for this year that you've done from the food barn.
Yeah.
And stuff that we can look forward to, and then 1 or 2 menu items that we can end with. Chef's Table. I think you guys still doing it.
So, Chef's Table used to be an event that took place before COVID, and it was a lunchtime.
Looked like it was fun.
No,
I've
it was
never been.
amazing. So, what I had to adjust it because since reopening after COVID, this was no longer a lunch and dinner restaurant. It became an all-day restaurant because we had to close the cafe
That's right.
in the shop.
Okay.
So we now open at 8 and we have breakfast that flows into lunch, that flows into dinner, which means that there is no time to prep anymore. There's no space or time to prep for big events like that.
Okay.
And it's a bit sad, but I'm okay with it now.
Okay.
So what I've done to replace the chef's table, I've created something called the Wine Thursdays. And that is a function that takes place on a Thursday night, normally once a month, once every month, unless it's harvest.
Okay.
And what the concept, when the winemakers are harvesting, they don't.
okay. They're not
All
eating.
they do is they spend time in the vineyards and they pick and they make the wine,
So
the
you-
initial juice because they need to be there. They work.
Okay.
They work hectic hours.
Which are your main wine suppliers? When you I know you're getting from all the big.
Oh no, I work with lots of guys. Yeah, I mean Ken
your top-
Forrester,
okay.
Duncan Savage,
Okay.
Iona,
Okay.
Thelema. I mean, I've got a lot of collaboration with many mates of mine who are winemakers, and I curate with them some food-bound wines as well.
Okay.
So, because of those relationships, the winemakers,
On the
we have a
Thursday.
thing going. So we do an event where the winemaker provides me with 6 wines
Okay.
that I taste, and then I create a pairing.
Pairing.
And it's a
Food
menu.
pairing.
The menu that results. So the wine really dictates the menu. Actually, it's not the other way around.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and that's the menu of the evenings.
Okay.
We taste the wine. The winemaker is here. I'm here. I cook, and people come buy a ticket, and there's 75 people in here that enjoy the 6-course meal,
Okay.
which is it's
So that's still something that's on the calendar as we
Yeah.
as we speak.
it's going to start again in January.
Fantastic. So, menu items that you enjoy cooking, things that you enjoy eating, things, and something about you that we don't know. Those are we're going to end with that.
Okay, so
We've been going for 20 minutes.
I know. I love cooking. I just
Always love cooking.
Yeah, always.
You come from a family where...
But there's a reason why I love cooking is because before loving cooking, I love eating. I absolutely love eating delicious things. It's from a little boy. It always was my favorite thing to do to discover the textures
New
and
tastes.
deliciousness.
Oh, okay.
So in order to feed my vice, I had to learn how to do it.
Interesting.
And throughout my career, I discovered that what I like to do best is definitely sauces. I love to concentrate flavors. Actually, some sauces require 3 days to be made, and some sauces require 3 minutes to be made.
That the sauce is the thing that makes it.
But sauces they just bring everything to life, in my opinion. And whether you decide to make a sauce over 3 days that you concentrate meat juices and then you give them flavor and you emulsify them with butter, or you make a simple salsa with olive oil and chili and soy sauce and tomatoes, it's equally fun. They've got different role to play, but they're super delicious. So sauce is definitely my thing.
Okay.
I love everything. There's very few things that I dislike in terms of food.
I want to point out something on the menu item for those who've never been. You go with tapas, and tapas gives you what?
So tapas is smaller plates. And I don't know, classical tapas is Spanish food. The idea of the tapas means actually a lid.
Okay.
And the origin of tapas is that it's a food that is served either on a little slice of bread, and in the old days it would be used to cover a glass of sherry. So you go to a restaurant and you got a small glass of sherry, and on top of the glass would be a slice of bread with something on top, and that would be called a tapas because it's the lid on the glass. And then you would eat the tapas and down the cherry.
And now it is.
And now it's
changed.
become small plates.
It's a small plate.
And the idea is sharing. Tapas is sharing. So even this, like 4 of you, you order a selection to start, and then everybody tries a little bit, and then you get another wave of selection, and it's super fun. Yeah.
Fantastic. I think it's also Mediterranean culture that is
Yeah,
sneaking in.
yeah,
That
absolutely.
you talk and you have fun. It's not just a...
And we do lots. We do seafood, a lot of calamari, prawns, stuff like that. We do a lot of vegetables, actually. We love cooking vegetables around
But
here.
now I saw on your... We're going over time, of course, but there's ratatouille available in another...
Frozen meals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
so
you wanna talk
that's
about that?
old classical recipe, family recipe that
Okay.
we make.
Okay. People can buy it frozen and they can cook it up whenever.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
now during Christmas time if you don't want to.
No,
If you
absolutely.
don't want to cook. Shall we end with something that I don't know about you or that you don't often tell people? Sport, family, dogs.
Sport.
And I also know that you recovered from a heart attack.
I have.
So that I'm telling people something that they don't know about you.
So I recovered from it was a bit of a strange one because it was not a heart attack caused by a lifestyle. It was a heart attack caused by an allergy that I have
Wow,
Yeah.
allergy too?
to omega-6s,
Oh, wow.
which inflamed it created a massive inflammation in my vascular system
Okay.
and caused
Where
my
did you get
arteries to twist.
Omega-6 from?
From birth. I just
Your-
never knew I was allergic to it.
But no, my question is
Where does it come from?
Yeah, yeah.
No,
What
it come from seed oils.
Okay.
So
And now you
sunflower seeds, canola, it's all poison to me. And I've been
only just found out.
and I'm 55. So it took me a little bit.
But anything else that you want to add into that space?
Things that don't people know about me. I used to be a commercial pilot when I was in my 20s.
Okay.
And I flew commercially in the Caribbean for about 2 years.
Okay.
And I did that after my cooking apprenticeship.
Okay.
But because the cooking apprenticeship was so intense, from 14 to 19 years old, I worked the madness of. I was enrolled in a 3-star Michelin in France, and it was just mad.
Okay.
And I actually
Long
burnt
hours.
out completely. Yeah, so I lost myself. I was burnt out, and I had the opportunity to go to America, back to university, and I studied again.
Okay.
And then I took my pilot licenses, and I immediately got a job.
Wow, you're lucky.
Well, it was. I got a job instructing first, and then flying the right seat on a small cargo
What are we
plane.
talking? Okay, small cargo.
Yeah, small cargo. In fact, for a year and a half, I flew cargo between the islands.
That must have been therapy.
Super fun. You can do very hardcore landings. Nobody complains. Nobody vomits. It's amazing. And then I did that, and then
You know that we've mentioned the word vomit twice.
yeah. And then I started to miss cooking again, and the creative output in flying there's nothing. And
Yeah. You just got to follow the rules. There's no.
yeah.
You can't.
So unfortunately, I had to choose, and the opportunity presented itself here, and I came to help somebody, and then I stayed. And I haven't flown. I've flown a couple of times with people that I know have got airplanes, but it's just an expensive hobby.
Is your license still valid?
No,
You've got to go to Stellenbosch
Yeah.
to get more hours.
no, it's long gone.
Okay.
But it's okay. It was just a fun chapter of my life.
Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.